Hello and welcome back to another End Up Weather video. Today we are talking about what's next. We got cold and we got more snow. Let's get right on into it, starting off with the least accurate models and going to the most accurate models. Let's start off with the Canadian model, which usually does a pretty good job with the very northern tier of the US, but typically not the south. But other than the cold, we know that it's going to be very cold across the northern tier of the U.S. throughout the early part of this week, maybe even straying into Wednesday, but mostly Monday, Tuesday. Now, the Canadian model does have some snow in parts of British Columbia and Alberta, but the main thing that we're going to be talking about here is going to be these clipper systems that slide down into the U.S. and could pick up a little bit of moisture. Now, the Canadian model really doesn't have anything here. It instead has a storm that sweeps into the Great Lakes region, picks up some Atlantic and Gulf moisture, and then becomes more of a nor'easter with a new low pressure forming off the coast, and then riding up the coast of Nova Scotia and New Brunswick like that. So, let's go to our snowfall, and we do have the Kuchera ratio, which is going to be included here, except for the not the Canadian model, the European model. So, a good amount of snowfall across the entire tier, mostly 6 inches plus, and then most of the Northeast and New England sees over a foot. Moving on to the GFS, I did go back to the 12Z model run, even though 00Z is coming in now, just to line all these up, because the Canadian and the European both use 12Z. So, the GFS is showing that storm system coming down, and really not much there, but it also has a potential nor'easter here, which could bring in a little bit of snowfall to the very extreme eastern portions of the U.S., another clipper system sliding down into the Great Lakes, picking up some Gulf moisture and Atlantic moisture, and producing some light snow across some areas of the East Coast. But the main event here is pretty far out, and it's like a double whammy in terms of nor'easter. So you have clipper system there, then you have nor'easter as well. So, let's go to the Kuchera ratio and go all the way over here, and you can see that the GFS thinks that most of the snowfall is going to be in the Great Lakes region as well as in the Northeast, with those areas getting a foot plus, and then areas around there could also see 6 inches, but also some parts of the plains as well as a lot of Southern Rockies snow, but of course the Cascades in there as well. The Canadian model has that too. So, the European model, the most accurate of the three, does show, after the storm system moves through, we have that clipper system moving down into the Great Lakes. Really not much there, maybe some flurries. But then we have a system here coming down from Alberta. We have the Alberta Express, the Alberta clipper system coming down into Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, picking up some Gulf moisture, and then sliding on into the Northeast as a potential nor'easter, but right now it is strained to the Mid-Atlantic region before it heads on out, and then we see another potential nor'easter as well. And with that, we have to assume a 10-to-1 snow-to-liquid ratio, but we do come to this, where the Midwest, in areas such as Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, see 6 inches into some areas of the Great Lakes region, and then most of the snow in the Mid-Atlantic, and then a blip of 6 inches in the Northeast as well, because of that second nor'easter that shows up. But this is all by next Wednesday, and with the GFS, the end date there is the following Tuesday. So there's a lot of difficulties, but recent model runs have been showing a clipper system that drops into the U.S. and could bring a decent swath of snowfall. Not saying that will be our next winter storm. It depends on how much snow it does drop. But I think that that's going to be the source of where our next winter storm does come from. Especially since whenever we see these very, very cold Arctic bursts, typically you don't see major storms. Normally, major storms cause Arctic outbreaks, not Arctic outbreaks cause winter storms, if you're following my train of thought there. But I think the last time we had a scale this harsh for a polar plunge not caused by a blizzard, we started to see a lot of Alberta clippers. And I believe that was also the last time we saw a La Nina as well, so I think that is going to be our route here. It just seems right for some reason. It's just clicking in my mind that, yeah, it'll be an Alberta clipper. That makes sense. So I think that's going to be where we have to look for our next storm. So that's where I'm going to be looking personally, but of course, I'm not closing off any other options. I think that's personally what I think is going to happen at the moment. Things could change. So if you want the latest updates on any of these clippers or potential nor'easters, anything like that, and you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like, subscribing, hitting the bell. And that's all I have for today. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.